Hi everyone, in this video I'm just going to be talking about the difference between your imagination and clairvoyance. So I'm using the example of clairvoyance because it's much easier to kind of simplify in that, you know, it's a visual thing. So anyway, I'll explain. So someone recently actually asked me this question: how do you know the difference between psychic messages and psychic information coming to you and your imagination? Well, there is a big difference, so it can be subtle when you're just learning about these things and you're in the early stages of your psychic development. But with the example of clairvoyance, it's fairly simple in that when you are using your imagination, that is a sort of a proactive experience on your part. You are putting energy into a visualization. You are creating the visualization yourself. If you have your eyes closed and you're meditating, and you start drifting off in the meditation in a way that makes you feel as if your kind of emotions are tied into it, your personal emotions and feelings are tied into it, then that could clue you into the fact that you are using your own imagination. Also, imagination can sort of be where you're sort of thinking of something without, maybe you're not even realizing it, and you're kind of drifting into a daydream. So it can be quite subtle sometimes, but other times you'll know, oh, I'm creating this because it's about my desires, it's about something that I want. Now, when you receive a psychic message, it works differently. It is an impression that is impressed upon your mind from, you know, from source energy, from your guides, from your higher self, from your, you know, your intuition that's connected to a higher frequency. So this is why it's really important to quiet your mind down, to get to know yourself, and that is part of a spiritual process, to really get to know yourself in the psychic development process, because as you know yourself, you get to know what your own ways of kind of being are. So if you are someone that's very easily triggered into imagination or into an imaginative sort of state, well, then it might be harder for you to kind of discern the difference. But when you receive a message from spirit, it can most of the time be quite unexpected. It comes to you kind of out of left field. You can tell it's not from your own mind because it feels a little bit different. It kind of feels, it has a bit more of a suddenness to it, the way it pops in. That's quite subtle though. So you have to, again, it's about getting used to developing and working on developing this. So and, you know, when you're exercising your imagination, for example, it's very much you in a creative space kind of creating this, whereas when you're receiving messages, you're in a more passive state and you're in a more receptive state. It's about, you know, being still and receiving the impression upon your own mind. People tend to sometimes think that to be psychic, it's a very active thing, it's a very proactive thing, whereas it's more a passive, kind of watery kind of energy that you're using, if that makes sense. So these things can be quite subtle, which is why I say it's really important to get to know yourself in your development process, because as you get to know yourself, you will get to see the patterns and the way that messages come to you. I did do another video, which I think I titled The Importance of Intuition, my personal story, something along those lines. And in that, if you watch that video, I just talk about how I received a very clear clairvoyant vision one time when I was going through a difficult time in my life. And I talk about how, you know, that vision was very clear and very detailed and very quick. And there was no way that my mind could have created that, because I didn't have the faculties to be able to snapshot an image so clearly and detailed and to flash it into my own third eye. I'm not capable of doing that, you know, with so much being so detailed and specific and down to every detail of a new home that I was going to move into. And anyway, if you look at that video, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I just wanted to make it a brief video, and I hope that this kind of explains, you know, the difference, how it's not a proactive thing that you're going out trying to find messages. It's more you're being more in a passive state, in a quietened down mental state, and allowing it to come to you, which is why it's really important, if you are developing your psychic abilities, to take time to switch off from a lot of noise that's going on in the world, You know, for me personally, I choose not to have a television. Me and my partner both made that decision several years back because we felt that there was a lot of psychic noise coming out of TV, and it was very irritating to us. And actually got to a point where we're like, you know what, we've had TV all our lives, let's just try living without it, you know, experiment. And it's actually been great, and I highly recommend it. If you're someone that really wants to take your psychic abilities to the next level, you may do it for a period of time to sort of help tap into your energies. I mean, if that's not a possibility for your life because of other people that you live with, then just your own time spent watching TV can kind of, you know, sort of narrowing it down to sort of less and less time, and really choosing certain things to watch that you really are interested in, rather than just sitting in front of a TV and letting it just play show after show. You know, it's a lot of psychic noise, that TV. So anyway, that's just a personal choice of mine, and I don't say that everyone has to do that to be psychic. Definitely not. It's just, if you're very sensitive, it can be something that impinges a lot on your psychic development. And it was interesting because I'm going off on a tangent now, but somebody that I know mentioned that they went to a mediumship development course, and that they were told not to watch television for the 6 weeks that they were doing the course, which I thought was interesting. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because that made sense to me. Anyway, but each to their own. Everyone, you know, has different things that they're sensitive to. So, but anyway, if you have questions about this video, please post below. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Bye.